I'm scrolling down, Mark, to look at the names. They're coming in faster than I could scroll, so I need to start jumping ahead a little bit better, grabbing that little thing and pulling it down. But I made it to the carols, and there's pages of carols, and so great for everybody to be here together, for us to be able to join virtually.
Yeah, welcome everybody. Kevin, I got to tell you, I'm real inspired about our agenda today. It's going to be a powerful event. So
it is, awesome, and we've got about 1 minute left, so we're going to go ahead and turn our cameras off for just a minute, and then we are going to get going. So everybody, settle in and hang tight. We'll see you back in about a minute or so. It makes me think about the uncertainty that we've all faced this past year. This has certainly gone on longer than I had anticipated, and I think that anybody had really anticipated. And we've gone into the unknown, and there's a lot of unknown in front of us. But that rocket ship reminds me of the fact that humans have always ventured into the unknown. We have always explored, and we have always stepped up, and we have learned, and we have gotten better, and we have gone into the unknown, and we have conquered it, and we have learned. And I have no doubt that we will do that again, and that we are doing that through this pandemic. I have no doubt that you are all doing that. I mean, there are the kinds of people in this world who, sit back and let life happen around them, and constantly talk about things that they can't control, or let those things get them down. But my favorite types of people are the types of people who take action, who focus on what they can control, because there's a lot of things in life we can't control, but there are things that we can. And the fact that you're here with us this morning tells me that you're the kind of person that focuses on what you can control. So thank you for being with us this morning. Thank you for being serious about your life and your future, and wanting to take some time here on a Saturday when you could be doing so many other things to join us for some really special messages that we anticipate can help you as you grow your business, as you help others achieve wellness, and as you change lives. And that's really what this is all about. And speaking of changing lives, we have National Director Courtney Martin with us here this morning. Courtney enrolled in 2013, advanced to Senior Director in 2014, Executive Director in March of 2016, and National Director in June of 2020. What's really impressive about Courtney is she is so focused on the product. She's learned the value of the products. In fact, her and her daughters, her husband Graham, they consume 310 product points per month on average in their home. As a result, Courtney has 133 personal enrollees, 19 personal directors. That's 130 total directors in her organization, and 3,407 total preferred members. She's earned President's Club an incredible 4 times, and has built a monthly consistent residual income and growing $12,931 a month. So joining here this morning, welcome, Courtney Martin. It's great to have you with us.
Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, Melaleuca family. I am super excited to be here with you guys this morning. I'm also really nervous because I hope that my message this morning is able to help somebody today move their business forward. My hope is that one of you guys can take something I say and implement it. So I got to give a quick shout out to Mela. If anybody is looking for a fabulous red poppy is a really great color. So that's what I've got on today. So there's my Mela plug for the morning and my first product plug of the day. So I want to walk you guys through a little bit of my journey with Melaleuca and share some things that I've learned along the way. So I think we got to take it back to 8 years ago. So 8 years ago, I enrolled with Melaleuca. It's crazy to say that. I feel like time has absolutely flown by. And at that time, you guys, I had given up my career. I used to paint movie sets in the film industry. I have no sales experience at all. And I gave up my career to be at home with my kids because my job used to consume 60 to 80 hours of my week. And I wanted to be present with my munchkins. And so 8 years ago, we had just built a new house. We actually moved in on March 1st, and we were the contractors. And I had a 2 and 4-year-old at home. And in February, my sister-in-law invited me to come hear about Melaleuca. And I'll be honest, I didn't want to go. We were busy. We were trying to get things organized for the house. but I had severe cracked and bleeding eczema here in Canada. And she approached me and she said, I want you to come hear about these products. They made a huge difference for our family, and I think they would make a difference for you. And I only went because she approached me on a need, and she was my sister-in-law. That relationship piece, you guys, is so incredibly important. So I went and I listened to a Meluka presentation, and it was incredible presenters. It was Susie Meyer, who's a national director 9, Missy Markovich, who is marketing executive for me. But you people seem to think it's going to completely change my health. So what do? I'll set up a shopping account. My exact words to Susie Meyer were, I'm a minimalist and I don't think this store is going to work for me, but you guys seem to be really keen about it. So I set up a shopping account. And one of the best things that ever happened was I got a value pack, you guys. And I was able to bring those new products into my home, my brand new house. I was able to not bring all the toxic chemicals into the new home with me. And I fell in love with the Meluka brand. My skin started clearing up. I started seeing tremendous health benefits. And at that same time, we had this conversation about me going back to work full time, because we were living what I call the American struggle, not the American dream. I don't know if any of you guys can relate to this. We weren't starving. We could pay our bills. Life was okay. But we were slowly accumulating credit card debt. And our kids were getting older and they were getting more involved in activities which costed more money. And so we really needed me to start to provide some sort of income. But I just flat out told Graham, no, I'm not going back to work. I want to raise my kids. I'm from Vancouver, Canada. All my family lives in Canada. I live in Louisiana. My husband's family's an hour and a half away. I didn't want my kids to be first in daycare and lucky last being picked up. So what my brother and sister-in-law did so well was they called me and they shared a Meluka promotion with me. They said, if you refer 8 friends and family to Meluka, you'll make a guarantee of $1,000. What do you think? You want to go for it? And it's the only time I've seen this in eight years, you guys. And I thought, yeah, like that would keep me home for another 2 months. I can do that. So here's what happened. My brother and sister-in-law were passionate about the products, just like I am, but they weren't building a Meluka business. Their enroller also was not building a Meluka business. They shared Meluka products with my sister-in-law because they had seen success with the products. And so they ended up not moving forward. And my coaching in the beginning to get people to come and listen was, hey, get some warm bodies in your living room. And I knew people, and I knew tons of people that could benefit from this store. So I did 2 in-homes, which now we do all Zooms, right? But I did 2 in-homes, and it was a Tuesday and a Wednesday night. And these were my people, my close friends. And they all came over, 5 people and 5 people. And every single one of them said no. Every single one. I didn't have great success. I went to bed that night crying after the second night. And my husband looked at me, and I told Kevin this earlier. Kevin knows Graham. And he says he didn't say it this way, but he looked at me and he said, suck it up, Buttercup. Like, if you want to do this, figure out a way. So, and I'll support you. And Graham works in sales. He has been in pharmaceutical sales for almost 15 years now. And he looked at me and he said, Courtney, I work on accounts for 6 months. I work to get my foot in a door. And then that door is slammed in my face. And you want to cry because your friends don't see the value in the laundry detergent that you love so much? I'm like, yes, I want to cry. That's what I want to do. But I wiped those tears away. And the next 19 people I shared Meluka with all said yes. I called my best friend in Louisiana, and we got started and we started building together. And here's what happened. Over that year, I worked really, really hard to get to Director 5. And when I say worked really, really hard, I worked really hard in my head. I was treating this as a hobby. I worked about 10 hours a day in my brain, but I wasn't doing any revenue producing activities. I wasn't making the approaches and adding to my contact list the way I needed to. And yet I was exhausted. I don't know if any of you guys feel like that. And so I really crawled my way to Director 5. I crawled my way there with people that I wanted to save, people that weren't really willing to do the work themselves. And in May of that next year, I went to convention. And I want you guys to know we have convention coming up, and it's virtual. And if you don't have it already on your calendar, please mark it on your calendar. It's going to be May 15th, 14th, and 15th. Every single person needs to attend. And I went to convention, and I realized that I was undervaluing what I had, that I hadn't really made a decision to build this business, that I saw what was possible, but I wasn't grabbing hold of it, and that I didn't identify myself as an entrepreneur. And I left that convention with valuable information from Jeff Miller and Sandy Siemens. I'll never forget Sandy Siemens teaching me to overcome the objection of 35 points in the first 5 minutes of my presentation. Jeff Miller coaching me not to take names off of my contact list, right? I didn't take Raphael off, and look what happened there 5 years later of approaching him. And I went on a run while I was at convention, and I'll never forget, they say that if you don't remember when and where you were when you make the decision to build this business, and if your why doesn't make you cry, then you haven't really figured it out. And I remember running with Brooke Paulin and Missy Markovich and Susie Meyer, and they asked me, Courtney, when are you going to reach senior director? And I remember looking at them and saying, I don't know. And they said, if you don't know, how do you expect that to reach it? And so I said, okay, August 31st, that's when I'm going to do it. And they were like, well, what's going to change? I said, I'm going to go home and I'm going to implement what I've learned here. I'm going to change my posture, and I'm going to identify myself as an entrepreneur, because I am one. You guys, I was making $1,000 a month with Melaleuca. That's incredible income for somebody who's working remotely around their children. Yet I wasn't sharing that. And so I went home and I got to work. And here's what happened in those next 3 months. I started prospecting up. I started calling people that I knew would be incredible partners. I started calling people that I knew this company and this business and these products would add value to. And I locked arms with some incredible women. I partnered up with a woman named Mary Frances Hugger. We call her FEB. And her sister locked arms together. And we were able to help almost 200 people get better, safer products in their home over those 3 months. But here's what also happened. I was faced with a decision. And many of you guys are going to make a decision and put your stake in the ground like I did to build this business through this fast track and through 2021. And the moment you make that decision, you're going to be challenged. Something is going to come up that is going to make you waver from your commitment. And I challenge you guys to commit to this process no matter what in that time frame. So I share this with you, and I hope none of you judge me, but I always say I'm going to be completely honest and truthful. My daughter was 3 years old, and she had to have her tonsils, adenoids out, and she also had to have tubes put in. And it was right after I made this decision. It was in June after I came home from convention. And I was just starting to build momentum. And she was going to need to be home for a week. And remember, I said that my family doesn't live here, and we don't have some support team that's going to come and help. And so I was faced with the decision of getting a babysitter and committing to myself and following through with the activity, or being home that week. And so I talked to Graham about it. And, I say this, he works full time. He never once thought of taking the week off. And I don't mean that bad towards him. It's just that he had a commitment to his job. But you know what, you guys? I made a commitment too. I made a commitment to myself, even though we're a volunteer army here at Melaleuca. And so the day of her surgery, I was there. The next day I was home. But guess what? In the days to come, there was a babysitter here with her. And she doesn't remember, you guys. She was 3 years old. She doesn't remember what that looked like. And I am forever grateful that I made that decision, because I reached senior director by August 31st. And it's because I kept the commitment to myself and to those around me to follow through. So today, when you make your commitments at the end of this, something is going to come up. Do not hesitate. Follow through. I love that Frank Vandersloot shares this all the time. He shares commitment is following through long after the emotions have left, right? And so I want to share with you guys 5 laws that I follow in my business from a book called The Go-Giver. And I want to walk you guys through how we do this in Melaleuca. And I want to ask you this question. How well does Melaleuca do on these 5 laws? And how well are you doing on these as you are building your Melaleuca business? And can we get better? So let's start with the law of the first law, the law of value. Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than what you take in payment. So let's talk about Melaleuca here right now, you guys. This gets me so fired up and excited because we have some of the best products on the entire planet, and we get this to offer others for $19. Have you ever stopped to think about this? Have you ever stopped to think about what Melaleuca gives us for $19? Do you guys know that Melaleuca pays us more than they receive for the customers that we are bringing to Melaleuca to shop in the first 3 months? Because the expectation is that we're going to do our job and we're going to share value on the products, and we're going to educate our consumers with Melaleuca's help so that our customers convert their homes. And over time, they're not going to go back to the grocery store brand. That's the expectation with that 96% customer reorder rate, right? But have you ever thought about other things? Like the fact that our customer service is first class. And do you guys know that it costs more than $5 a call for Melaleuca to have a customer service center? Why do you think other companies don't have them anymore, right? But this is a value that Melaleuca gives us because they know that it's important, that customer service is something that we need to have in order to succeed. So what about the fact that you're about to hear from Frank Vandersloot, who has been the CEO of this company for 35 years, and people would pay hundreds of dollars to hear him speak. Yet we get all of this, you guys, for $19. It's absolutely incredible. And I think sometimes we undervalue that. I know for me, in my first year of building this business, I undervalued what Melaleuca gave me. I undervalued what we had to offer other people. I used to think that there was this cute little lady in Idaho Falls packing my boxes and, sweet little company. And yes, we are a sweet little company, but we are a multi-billion-dollar manufacturing company. We are a more than company. We are not a less than company. And if I can do anything for you today, it's to instill belief of what you have to offer those as far as your customers go, their shopping experience, and the management team that you have behind you. I mentioned to you that my enroller doesn't build and her enroller doesn't build. But you know what? Brooke Pollen and Courtney Copley have created an incredible team that I'm a part of, even when my business does not directly benefit their business. But what about what Melaleuca gives you, the support that they give you, the army that is behind you? We all have the tools to succeed here at Melaleuca, and it's because Melaleuca does not deviate from the law of value. So let me ask you, how are you doing with the law of value? How are you showing up for your customers? How are you showing up for your partners in this business? Because if we can show up even 50% of how Melaleuca shows up, I think we're in a pretty good position. So how about the law of compensation? Your income is determined by how many people you serve, as well as how you serve them. I don't know if you guys have read it lately, but our mission statement's pretty incredible. And it really goes hand in hand with the law of compensation, right? It is all about helping people. It's about enhancing lives based on their goals. It's not about you. It's about who you can help and how you can help them. And that goes hand in hand with the law of influence. Your influence is determined by how abundantly you place other people's interests first. Pretty sure Melaleuca is rocking at this one. And I can think of a few people that I'm pretty close with that are doing an incredible job with those two laws, you guys. Corinne Cochran is one of my best friends. She lives on Vancouver Island, and she's been a Melaleuca shopper for 6 years. And I would say that Corinne is a found leader. When Corinne and I connected about Melaleuca, you guys, it was a 6-month process from the time we started conversation to the time that she enrolled and started sharing Melaleuca with others. It wasn't overnight. But Corey and I have a strong relationship. We were college roommates. We grew up playing soccer together. And she is every bit of what I am looking for in somebody to partner with to help other people see the value in Melaleuca's products and business. She's an RN by trade. She is an incredible mother of 2 beautiful kids, Brady and Bryn. And when we connected about Melaleuca, the kids were 1 and 4. And she worked in nursing. And she was looking for a plan B. She was looking for a way to come home to her life. And she came here with a skill set. You see, she was already open to creating another source of income. And she just needed the right platform to be able to do it. And Corey builds strong relationships. And she built an incredible relationship with Angela McLaren, who's a mama of 3, who works at a bank. And if you ask Angela, she'll tell you her life is pretty good. They're not struggling. They're not starving financially. But what she needs is purpose. She needs purpose, and she's passionate about helping people. And she sees Melaleuca as the platform to be able to do that. And Corey and Angela built a strong relationship over the past year through hockey. And Corey didn't pounce on Angela. She built that relationship. And when timing was right, Corey reached out for a conversation. And timing wasn't right. But guess what? Because of that relationship, 2 months later, Angela called Corey and said, okay, I want to hear about what you want to share with me. And in January, Angela double advanced her business to Pacesetter Director 2. Corey and Angela have locked arms for Fast Track with 2 other incredible women, Kristen and Dominique, and they are in the top 100 with 65 points, changing lives, making a difference. So what about Heather Maneri? She just reached Senior Director last year, and I would say that she is different than Corey. She is not a found leader. She is a developed leader here at Melaleuca. You see, it took me a year, you guys, to get Heather to listen to a Melaleuca presentation. And it wasn't because Heather didn't want to give me her time. It was because life was happening. But you guys, I reached out to Heather. We went to college together as well. She played softball, I played soccer. We have an incredible relationship. And I reached out to Heather because she has is wanting to create a nonprofit for her brother. You see, her brother passed away 12 years ago with cancer. And she's been on a mission to educate people on how to get carcinogens out of their home. And she is building Melaleuca now in his name. She is carrying on his legacy. So Corey reached Senior Director in 9 months, found leader, right? Skill sets are ready that could be implemented here. But Heather is a developed leader here. And Heather took 4 years to reach Senior Director. Her journey is different. And Heather is attracting other like-minded individuals like her. So through her church and small group, she met with Brianna Weaver. They were in their group together, and Heather immediately connected with her and saw needs. And here's what happened. Heather asked Brianna for coffee, and the 3 of us met, and we connected, and we shared Melaleuca with her. And she immediately saw what we saw. She saw the value in the products. And Brianna started with a value pack and instantly fell in love with the store. See, Brianna is a lot like me. And like Heather, her family's not starving either. She has a great career. She's a dental hygienist. Her husband has an incredible career in oil and gas. But she sees what Melaleuca can do for other people. And she shared Melaleuca with Lori. And Lori's an occupational therapist with 3 kids working in home health. And she immediately fell in love with the products. And their relationship was so strong that she trusted her to listen. And Lori is obsessed with Melaleuca toothpaste because it's helped all of the canker sores in her mouth. And she is screaming it from the rooftops. And because of her passion for the products, she enrolled 17 shoppers in the month of January. And both of these women double advanced their business to Pacesetter Director 2 in the month of January. They're making an impact. But here's what I can tell you. They are doing this with others in mind. And there's been a leader shift in both Heather and Corey. And the leadership that I see is that Heather is becoming the leader that she is meant to be. She is taking ownership of her business. She shifted from being scared and nervous to being empowered and proud and excited to use this as her platform to continue on the legacy of her brother. And Corey, man, I'm so proud of that girl. She has shifted from getting to Senior Director where the focus was on her, and she shifted this to truly pouring into others with absolutely no expectations of anything in return. You guys, that's what this business is about. But what about the law of authenticity? The most valuable gift you have to offer is yourself. You guys, this is true in every single aspect of what we do. Do not compare yourself to other people. I heard Kevin say that, and Mark say that Denise Branch and Erin Clark and Heather Gusana are on this call. Those are incredible women. And they're incredible women with the characteristics and the qualities that they have. I am not not them. They are not me. We all have to show up as us with all of our gifts and being perfectly imperfect. You guys, so don't undervalue who you are and what your God-given gifts are that you can offer value to other people. I'm just going to share this. I'm a hot mess disaster on a good day. And I show up 90% of the time with no poppy red lipstick on. I show up with my hair in a messy bun and my yoga pants. And that's me. And I don't apologize for it. You guys, don't apologize for you are, and don't undervalue who you are. And watch what happens in your business. People ask me all the time, Courtney, how are you looking for other people to lock arms with? And how are you looking for people to help? Well, it's simple, you guys. I show up as me, and I do things that I'm passionate about, and I focus on who I can help and how I can help them. And when you do that, you're automatically surrounded by the right people. You are automatically surrounded by those that you can help. It's just being brave enough to lean into the discomfort of doing that. So let's talk a little bit about the law of success. The law of receptivity, fifth law, sorry. The key of effective giving is to stay open to receiving. I'm gonna get a little emotional here. Oh, sorry, you guys. But this is a really hard law for me. And it was a hard law last year, really hard law last year. Because around June of last year, I was really debilitated by this pandemic. And I don't know if any of you guys find yourself in that situation, but my why of building this business for so long was my family. You see, I'm down here in Louisiana, and all my family is in Vancouver, Canada. And Luca gave me my family back. They gave me the ability to see them, for borders not to exist. But COVID took that away. Oh, I was gonna try to get through this. Oh, COVID took it away, you guys. And it was okay at first because we didn't know how long this was gonna go on. We didn't know what was gonna happen. But in June, it was like a 5,000-pound elephant was placed on my chest. And every month thereafter that the announcement came that the borders were closed longer, I just couldn't. And you see, I'm the constant in my family, and I'm the rock. And I am the one who has it all together all the time. But I didn't share with people my struggles. I didn't share that I had a hard time getting up every day and doing the work. But every day, you guys, I had created these habits every single day where I was getting up at 5 o'clock. Aaron Clark, I love you and I hate you for making us all get up at 5 and doing rise and grinds. But every single day, I was up at 5 o'clock and I was doing my rise and grinds at 5:30. I never missed a morning. I never missed a Sunday night team call. My team did not know that I was feeling the anxiety that I was feeling. But it was my habits that kept me through. It was my habits that I had created that kept me moving my business forward. And I wasn't able to pour into other people emotionally the way I do. So I wasn't able to lock arms with a ton of new people. But here's what happened. Every single month, my residual income came in. Every month, never missed a beat. And that's what this business is about. Digging your well before you're thirsty. And I did that. So that almost $13,000 Kevin mentioned came in every month. And in October, I had a come to Jesus moment with myself. And I realized that I was selfish for not continuing to share this. Because while other people were also being affected, some of those people didn't have a $13,000 residual coming in every month. My parents had no income for 7 months. For 7 months, you guys. And they had a $500 residual income. And guess what? That residual came in every single month. And I can tell you they were grateful for that. So in October, I got back to work. And when I got back to work, it was not immediate gratification, let me tell you. It was hard work in October, November, and December. And some of you are there right now. If you are questioning, can I do this? Can I get started again? Can I start, period? I'm here to tell you, you can. I worked my tail off in those 3 months, yet my income didn't change and nobody knew what was happening. And in January, I locked arms with an incredible new woman, Shalacy, and she reached the status of director and she was just getting started. It's not about me, it's about helping her. So show up for other people. And I want to finish, you guys, with reading you guys a couple of letters, and I have like 2 minutes, so I have to go really fast. So this is, I asked Corinne Cochran and Heather Maneri to each share with me what Melaleuca means to them. And you guys, these women are near and dear to my heart, so I'll try not to cry as I go through this. So Corey wrote, there are so many ways that Melaleuca has changed my life. If I would have to write a book to cover them all, but here are a few. 6 years ago, I was stuck in what seemed like a hopeless situation, living paycheck to paycheck and constantly stressed out about money. That, of course, caused stress on my marriage, stress on my family, a huge weight on my chest, and with major anxiety. When you approached me about Melaleuca, I saw your paycheck, and I just imagined what that could do for my family to dig us out of the hole we were in. You breathed belief in me, for myself, from the company, telling me I could do it. You handheld me like no one ever had in my entire life. And it's because of you that I was able to reach my goals. You surrounded me with your team who inspired me. I saw what they were doing, and I knew that if they did it, so could I. Court reached those milestones, showing me that it was possible. So I followed along exactly the way she told me. Along with that, I became a leader. Melaleuca has pushed me to grow, become a better person, a better leader, and to serve others. I live my life the same way I do my business, trying to enhance lives every step of the way. Melaleuca has enhanced my life more than I can imagine. I live my life exactly how I want to. I've become a morning person, and getting to do this business every day is such a blessing. It lifts me up, it pushes me, it keeps me accountable. Finances are just the tip of the iceberg. This business is life-changing. And if I would do it over and over again. Every day I wake up with such a grateful heart, and I can't wait to find the next person out there whose life I get to impact. So this is Heather Maneri. After building this business very casually for 2.5 years, I looked at my business report and had an aha moment. I realized I was sitting at D4, close to D5. And if I just put my head down and did the activity instead of thinking of the activity, then I could reach senior director by the end of the upcoming year. I called Courtney, and of course, we made a plan and mapped it out. I fit this business in every single nook and cranny of my life. Lunch breaks, conference appearances, drive home, and we did it. I hit senior June. All the blood, sweat, and tears were worth it. In this journey, I found the person God created me to be. I had to rely on my faith in God and knowing his plan is better than mine. I had to believe that he is working behind the scenes because in the natural, it wasn't looking pretty. As much as I would like to say that I would do it different all over again, I wouldn't. My journey in Melaleuca and business was not by accident. I went through the process and I've become a better person today and the leader God is molding me to be. I would absolutely, without a doubt, go through this again. You guys, lives change here at Melaleuca. And if you are like I was and you are debilitated by anxiety, you have an army behind you that can help you. The last thing I want to say is commit to the process. You guys, what that process looks like is no better than the words that Carol Baxter says. Somebody cared enough to share this with you. Share it with others. And if you truly care, you won't stop at sharing it one time. Typically it takes 5 to 12 times to share with somebody else. You've got this. You can do this. Thank you so much, Kevin.
Thank you, Courtney. Thank you for being with us today. Thank you for living our mission and for changing lives, and appreciate you sharing those stories with us as well. I just want to clarify if everybody was confused by the residual income numbers that you saw. That's total residual income. Doesn't include bonuses or anything. That's total residual income, not the monthly residual income. for those ladies. Speaking of lives changing here at Mela, we recently caught up with Executive Director 2, Kelly Whipp, to hear a little bit about her journey. So we're going to go to Kelly now.
I was very, very focused, working 60, 70, 80-hour work weeks in the corporate environment. And I loved it. I actually loved my career at that time. It was fulfilling. It was challenging. It was financially rewarding. And then I had kids and work was getting harder and harder to juggle. My son at that time was 3 years old. My daughter was just shy of a year. And I was getting ready to go to work. And I'm packing everything up, and the nanny walks in the door, and my 3-year-old looks at the nanny and says, "Hi, Mom." Whew, right? Every ounce of me. I don't know if I started crying then or I waited till I got in the car, but I know I cried the entire way to work. So by the time I got to work, I called Stacy before I walked into the office, and I said, "I want to shadow you. I want to see what you're doing." From the time that I made that decision with Stacy that day, it was 6 months to senior. And then, about a year or so later, I hit executive director. So things moved really fast. And then life hit for me. There was a multitude of events that happened over time. Lots of things just kept coming up, and it was just one after the other after the other. And I would go to an event, and I'd be like, "This is it. I'm going to get it back on track." And I wouldn't. But last December, I sat there, and I thought, I don't know if I can do this. I just don't know if it's for me. Maybe I've just lost everything that I used to be able to do. And then I sat back and I thought about all of the things that Mela has to offer and what it would look like if I went back into that corporate environment. It was beginning of probably November, December when I had that conversation with myself. And luckily it lined up with Fast Track. And I made a commitment to myself that not only was I going to earn Fast Track, but I was going to commit to those activities for the full year. For me, I am much more inspired and motivated to help someone else and not let somebody else down. So I think for me, it's not just the goal setting and the commitment to do it. It's looking those people in the eyes and saying, we're going to do this together and we're going to lock hands and nobody's going behind. We're all going to make it. And so it definitely for me is accountability. So one of the things that I did was I committed to having a morning meeting, and we did that through the entire Fast Track, and I kept it going. And so over this last year, Monday through Friday, I've got a Zoom that I have every single day. But it went from being, 4 of us on those calls to now 10, 15, 20 people on those calls. And the energy level is dramatically changed, right? Instead of it being like, this is hard, it's this excitement to figure it out, this excitement to help people. And so, yes, it resulted in an advancement that I haven't seen in a really long time. It resulted on ELC ending the year. It was almost like this extra bonus. I never in a million years would have thought I would see my name on that in 2020. And for it to end the year that way, it was pretty awesome. Financially, I was secure, right? I had a fantastic job, but I wasn't available for my kids. And when I kind of look back at all of these years later, Mela has provided freedom at its ultimate level, right? I mean, I think no matter where our whys start, it ultimately ends with freedom. We want freedom of flexibility. We want freedom financially. I mean, I've paid off my mortgage. I'm in the process of building a brand new home. There's just so much freedom that comes when you have that. And Mela gives us that ability to have true freedom. And so Mela's meant freedom on every level. It meant that I get to make the choices that I needed to make for my family. And now that everything's calmed down again, I can give that gift to somebody else. I think the biggest thing that I learned is that even us overachievers, even those of us who are very strong on our word, sometimes have parts in our life or times in our life where it's okay, you're not. And there's nothing wrong with it. And eventually you get everything cleared out and you go again. And I think for me, it was realizing it was okay, that I could put a smile on my face. I always showed that to the world. I don't think I ever played victim during that time frame, but it was very, very hard not to be an A player. And so I think the biggest thing that I learned is that we all have seasons and we all have times, and to not give up. And I didn't give up. I just kind of trudged through it, sometimes prettier than others.
Thank you, Kelly. You know, one of the advantages of this virtual world is we have the opportunity to get a front row seat to hear from our CEO, Frank Vandersloot. So, Frank, good morning. We'll turn the time over to you.
Good morning, Kevin. Thank you for letting me join you, all of you today. It's good to be with all of you, and I know virtual is great, but it's not like being really together. It's this whole pandemic thing has had a toll on all of us, emotionally, for many people, financially, the unknowns, the news, and all the different stories that how dangerous is it? How serious is it? You have some people that there's no impact at all, and others, your friends and some family members pass away from it. It's just been the stress of that. But what Courtney mentioned, the stress that she went through is happening in every single family in the country. Sure has happened in our family. And it's happened in our Mela family. The fact that we can't get together has been taken a real emotional toll on all of us. I just want to tell you thank you for staying connected with each other, using virtual to the best of our ability. We've all learned new skills, and how fortunate is it that this new technology was available just in time for us. I can't even imagine what it would have been like if we didn't have this ability to stay in contact with each other in this way. But it's not the same as being together. I know in our own family, and I know your family, we missed Thanksgiving. We didn't have Thanksgiving together. We missed Christmas together. Even in our home, we're Glenn and I are at an age they say is we've been told is you're in more serious jeopardy if you contract the virus, and we neither one of us have. But we even stopped hugging our grandkids. That we didn't know where they'd been or who they'd been with. It was awful, and we're back to hugging grandkids now. And the vaccine is now available. We're going to take the vaccine. I know a lot of people. We have a lot of folks who are worried about vaccines, and no one likes the idea of putting foreign subjects in your body. But you weigh the consequences of one versus the other, and so that's going to be a decision. We haven't yet, but we will shortly. We're encouraging people to do that, and we know that it will rub against some of our folks, and we're not arguing with whether everybody should make their own decision. I was actually a couple months ago, our local hospital called me up and said, Frank, we have some bottles of vaccine, and we thought, who gets it first? And you have so many people, lives that you impact, and so much of the our economy locally and nationally. And we decided, some committee decided, we will. You're one of the very first individuals in town on this list. And I said, no, there's no way I'm going to do that. I'll wait my turn. You tell me when you get to the 72-year-olds, but when everybody gets it, that's when I'll go. And they're there now. So we're going to do that. But there's a lot of good news, maybe a lot of conflicting news, but a lot of good news coming down. Have you seen the numbers recently? The number of new cases in this country, in the United States, are down to like 80% decrease. It's only 20% new cases of what it was just a month ago. And there was a real good article that came out in the Wall Street Journal just a couple of days ago that talked about, without even the scientists realizing it, apparently we're getting what they call herd immunity now. So many people have had the virus. So many people have had the virus that didn't even know they had it. So many people have had it that didn't get tested. So many people have had it that now it's not being spread because there's so much immunity already. It's not the vaccine yet. And you see in those numbers just take a nosedive. And there's some forecasts, at least this one particular doctor in the Wall Street Journal was suggesting that there are some experts who are saying that the whole thing's going to be over by April. That's a little, that might be optimistic. They have these other unknowns, right? These unknowns of, well, will a vaccine work on the new strains that are coming out? Will we actually have a new culture where you've got to get a booster shot every 3 months? Those are all things that are impacting all of our families. The point is, I think the bottom line is, there is so much unknown. There are so many things happening in this world that have never happened before. And we all have a responsibility, to the best of our ability, to protect our families. We need to be educated. We need that. There's so much conflicting evidence, scientific evidence that conflicts each other and has been since the beginning. And we've got to sort that out to the best of our ability. But I wanted to bring up some points today. And that is what role that we, Melaleuca, each other, leaders in Melaleuca, what role can we play to bring some stability back into our own homes, to keep stability there, to give people hope? There are some things that people need. People need from us. Businesses have closed. A lot of businesses closed. We don't know, from an economic perspective, we don't know how fast is the economy going to come back. Will it come roaring back? Or will there be other pressures that keep it suppressed? A lot of people don't have jobs today that did have jobs. A lot of small businesses, an enormous amount of small businesses have closed. Restaurants, the tourist industry has been hurt really, really badly. How would you like to be an investor in cruise ships right now? How would you like to own a fleet of cruise ships right now? Or the airplane industry? All of those things, we're not seeing the forecast, the economic forecast, because they're so complicated, nobody can figure them out. How many more businesses, how many big businesses will go out of business? We don't know. No one knows. What will the stimulus do to us? The stimulus, where it used to be $1 trillion, our country had never seen $1 trillion in debt. And now we're taking on trillions, plural, on an annual basis because of stimuluses, just to keep the thing running. No one's even thinking about, people are thinking about, but no one's really talking much about the national debt now, which is several times what it was just a few years ago. And how will that impact things? How will that impact inflation? Home prices, the economy in general. What happens if interest rates go back up? What happens to home prices? If interest rates go up, then the value of homes is going to decrease because people can't afford those kinds of dollars. And then inflation. I'm just throwing out all the unknowns that we have, not to scare you, but to bring into focus that there are unknowns and things that we don't know and things that we probably aren't going to be able to figure out very quickly. However, there are some things we do know, some things that we can count on, some things that are stable, and we ought to be investing in those things. Melaleuca brings some of the answers. People learned that their job wasn't as secure as they thought it was. I suspect our future is going to be full of unknowns, full of things we're not sure of, full of things that we could never predict, full of things that have never happened in history before. So impossible for us to know what those things are, but this is a crazy world. And we should invest in things that will give us stability, things that we know for sure, things that we can count on for sure. Health, taking care of ourselves, eating right, exercising, getting the right nutrition, not taking in our bodies things that, would be damaging to us. That's pretty important. Those things haven't changed. The fact that an immune system, a healthy immune system, has helped defend people from when they didn't defend them from getting the COVID, they apparently got the COVID. They just didn't have a negative reaction to it. Didn't even affect them. Some others, that without the same immune system, it did affect. But the immune system, really important. If there are new viruses that come along, I suspect it will be the same thing. So having a good immune system, having your body have the right nutrition, having all the elements that it needs to protect you from whatever the next thing that might come along, whether it's a new version of this COVID-19 virus or something new altogether, who knows? But we don't think that it will ever be a bad idea to have a strong immune system. And Melaleuca promises to be on the forefront. Our scientists are working every day, every bit of new news that comes out, every truth that's out there, we'll seek it, we'll find it, and we'll try to discern truth from fiction, and provide for our customers in the most natural way that we can, the solutions, as those solutions become more evident. We've been fortunate that we've been on the forefront of that already, and that's served our customers well. The idea of residual income, the idea of having income that comes in every single month is really rare for people. You know, there's been so many people that have lost their jobs, so many people who thought they had a secure job, and then, 2 months later, their business closed because of this pandemic. Who would have thought? Very, percentage-wise, few people had Melaleuca income. That income didn't go down. That income didn't stop. It didn't even decrease. Amazingly, it increased during those times. Residual income that comes in month after month after month. And this was a big test, I think, for Melaleuca as to how solid our business proposition, our financial opportunity was for people. And those who had years before invested into a Melaleuca income, many of you, who years ago made the decision to build. You didn't know this stuff was coming, but I know that you didn't have nearly the impact. Those of you who lost your full-time job could fall back on your Melaleuca income. We're all about building residual income. Residual income is rare. It's unique. It's extremely powerful and valuable. I think we take it for granted. I don't think we give it the value that it's due. I don't think we talk about it enough. I don't think that we explain to people often enough. We go after the promotion of the month and we try to win the contest and all of those things that we provide to incent people to go build today. All is for the intention of building your residual income, which is all determined by the number of preferred members that you have in your organization and how committed they are to a Melaleuca home, to Melaleuca products. There's so much opportunity for us to build on that, so much value to build on it. We've made so much progress too. It's always been strong. We've always had residual income. 95% of our customers that order the previous month for decades, 95% would order again. And then we saw that start to climb here just a few years ago and became 95.5 and then 96. And now we're almost to 97. We're not quite there, almost to 97%. Some months we hit it, but not every month. But we're way past 96% in the retention of 96%, 96 point something, who that ordered last month will order again next month. Unbelievable. That's why we have residual income. 80% of our entire customer base are just there because they love our products. I am thrilled, absolutely thrilled to see that transition and that grow, where I'm sorry to say that a decade or two ago, our marketing executives were pitching, the business opportunity by itself. And we've always been adamant. No, it's about the product, you guys. Please, you guys, it's about the product. I know it's a great business opportunity. I want you to tell them, please tell them, but it's about the product. That's what we need to have as our message. And now I feel that we've made great inroads on the transition from having Melaleuca being the wellness company as opposed to Melaleuca, the money deal. And I think that that's powerful. It's powerful because it doesn't alienate us. It doesn't from the masses. It doesn't throw us into that box that we don't want to be thrown into, the money deal box. We don't want to be in that box. We want to be in the wellness business that everybody's interested in. 80% of all of our customer base are involved with Melaleuca. That's where the revenue comes from, because they want to be healthy and strong and have energy and live a long, vibrant life. That's a powerful transition, you guys. I want to commend you on it, and I want to applaud you for it, and I want to encourage you to continue with that message. But I want to come back to the idea that all of that, the wellness idea, the wellness concept, the superior products, the research that goes into that, all builds this base. So yes, we can have a viable business of residual income. I'd like us to talk more about it. I want you to analyze in your lives. I mean, the big bonuses, when people are fast growers and they're having rapid advancements and that advancement, but that's so fun. And it's huge dollar amounts. But when you add it all up, it doesn't hold a candle to the residual income. They're a one-time thing. It's great to talk about. Put that money in the bank. Hopefully you don't go spend it all the first month. We love to see you, our leaders, advance. We love to celebrate with you. We love to have you hand you that check. But that check is only compensation for you having built your residual income. And when you add it all up, the amount of residual income that you make over your Melaleuca career will far outweigh all of the advancement bonuses, the one-time bonuses that you ever received. So I just want to point out to you that even though the next advancement might be a little ways away, the next customer is not a long ways away. That next customer will add to your residual income. You build it one customer at a time. Tremendous value. Every enrollment, every single enrollment has tremendous value to you and to your support team, certainly to Melaleuca. So I just want to say thank you, all of you, for your leadership. Thank you for your innovation of staying in touch with each other, encouraging each other, staying in touch during these tough COVID times. Thank you for throwing in with us to build this opportunity for people all over the world, and certainly within the United States and Canada. So many more families. We grew by such a huge amount this last year during this COVID thing. And many have joined the team of adding to their own income. We're thrilled about that. We're thrilled about the fact that customers join us just for the sake of being customers, but we're also thrilled. And the family, the Melaleuca family, so strong of business builders. Thank you for the culture you've built. Thank you for this culture of people helping each other, cheering each other on. Yeah, we're competitive. Yes, you're trying to, for those who are rather new to us and have never even been to a convention, by the way, I think this next convention will be the last virtual convention we have. We're going to be back into full swing and actually getting to see each other and having events where we actually come together shortly. I mean, I'm just like, can't wait. And yes, I agree. You need to be at this convention. But as you build together and look forward to coming back together, I just want to tell you thank you for what you've done. The culture that we have of people helping people. At convention, we have this. We set up all of the leaders, and the executive directors and above. We set them in assigned seats at convention and at other events also, like standing ELC, and that seat is assigned, and the person next to them to their right is they're all based by status and by number of preferred members in their business. So there's a little competition. Everybody wants to move up a seat, and you can move up 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 seats. And there's that competition going on. And who's the first to this and who's the first to that. And at the same time, if someone starts passing them, they'll applaud them as they go past. It's a really unique thing that we have that I don't think you'll find in any other business, honestly. I don't think you'll find it. I've never seen it. We're a family here. And all of you who created that. And I want to tell you how much it means to me. And again, thank you for all your hard work. Thank you, Kevin, for putting this program together. And thanks for allowing me to address people. We can't wait to see you all in person. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Frank. Great to have you with us here this morning. And it's so great for all of us to be here together, thousands and thousands of us here this morning, all coming together, united in one mission. We want to make the world a better place. We want to make the world a better place for others, for our community, for the world, for our families, and for our futures. And you know, we've done a bit of talking here this morning, and as we like to call it, we've been saddling up. And in a minute, we're going to start riding. It's time to put into practice what we've talked about, and we're going to have a power hour here. But before we do that, just wanted to remind everybody a little bit about the Getaway Your Way with Fast Track. We recently had a big announcement. I'm sure you've seen, and I've had some questions. You know, some thoughts have come in on, Kevin, if I were to have my voucher today, you know, what are some of the things that the Meluka's concierge could help me get? And so I did a little search just yesterday and the day before, and I wanted to show you just a couple of random examples that we came across. If you were to have your voucher today, what some things might look like. Of course, it's Getaway Your Way, which means you can use it for any travel-related expense, including equipment if you wanted to go camping. It can really be used however you want. But here's some of the things that I came across that I found interesting that you could use. First off, $999 for a trip to South America to visit Peru and Machu Picchu. That includes airfare, hotels, and tours for $999. Another one that we had is Greece, 3 cities and air. Now that's a flexible deal with no change fees, so you can go when the time is right and it's comfortable for you. But that's $999 for one person to go visit Greece. That includes hotels, it includes breakfast, it includes the tours, the transfers, the airfare, everything. And it could all be covered with your travel voucher. Another one came across is South Africa. If you want to take 10 days to go to South Africa and also on a safari, visit Kruger National Park and see the animals for yourself. Again, you'll notice they're fully refundable. That's unique to this environment. We haven't seen that in the past where these things have been so flexible and refundable. Had some other ideas too. Another one is if you want to go a little bit closer, flights to Cancun, under $299 from 15 different cities. Again, flexible opportunity to go there. But if you don't feel comfortable and you're thinking of something more domestic, I don't blame you. There's a few domestic things that we came across. Here's a hotel in South Carolina, 4-star for under $200. Another one we came across is in San Diego, $119 for a top hotel there in San Diego. But some other things, if you're a little bit more adventurous and wanted to get, maybe you don't want to go to a public hotel or something like that. So I looked a little bit deeper and I thought, what would it cost to rent a boat? So this is just one example. This boat sleeps 6 people, it has 2 cabins, 2 bathrooms, and it's about $400 a night. And here's the inside. You could take your family and go to the U.S. Virgin Islands, by the way. Now, if you wanted to think a little bit bigger and take your entire Fast Track team, this one's a bit more expensive, just over $1,000 a night. But if the whole Fast Track team wanted to go together at some point, this has 4 luxury cabins, 4 bathrooms, and you can rent it in the U.S. Virgin Islands without leaving the country. You can park it at an island, or you can hire a captain and have them take you from island to island and have your own boat. And hopefully what you're starting to see is the options truly are endless with this voucher and with this Fast Track. So I took it something a little bit closer to home. Some of us don't want to go too far. And so right here in Idaho, for $1,000 for 4 nights, You can travel down this river, experience a few rapids, camp along the side. Everything's included, everything's covered. They make the meals for you. They take you down the river, and you get to see some of the most serene, beautiful, untouched scenery ever. And all of us, regardless where you live, have something like this nearby, or by all means, you're welcome to come to Idaho. And with Idaho in mind, I thought, what about something close to Yellowstone Park? We have an incredible place not too far from Yellowstone, Eagle Ridge Ranch, which is a great place to take families. Or if you wanted to rent a cabin and stay secluded, this cabin's $225 a night, and it sleeps 10. Or if you wanted something bigger, you wanted a bigger group, this cabin's $325 a night, includes a hot tub. So my point with all this, we could go on and on and on. There are so many options for you, so many options for you and your spouse, so many options for you and your family, or you and your team, or whatever you want to do. It's a getaway your way. And as Frank mentioned, and as Courtney mentioned, this has been a bit of a challenging year. And if there's one thing you all deserve, it's the opportunity to get away. And as you do that, don't lose sight of what's most important, and it's that life-changing residual income, because that's what's going to make the difference in the long term. So hopefully everybody's taken their peak performance back, is taking some good notes this morning, because it's time to start writing. It's time. We're gonna get some work done here this morning and fill up our calendar. So with that in mind, I'm going to turn the time over to our Senior National Vice President, Mr. Mark Townsend. Mark, it's all you.
All right. Well, first of all, thank you, Kevin. I was looking at all those wonderful sites that you were showcasing, and I love the idea of going down the river in Idaho. I thought that would be an absolute blast, and all the fun ideas that you came up with. So thank you for sharing that with us. Now, everybody, we have an opportunity to get to work and start writing, like Kevin said. And we're going to start up a power hour. And a power hour is an opportunity for us to get some exceptional training on how to add names to your contact list, and how to set appointments and overcome fear, and gather the courage to start setting those appointments so we can get one step closer to earning those platinum and premium vouchers for Fast Track. And we have a wonderful leader that's joining us this morning, all the way from Texas. And if we could put her up on the screen, we've got Sabrina Ellis. She is a good friend of mine. She set up her account in January of 2016. She achieved senior director not too much later in October of 2016. She achieved executive director in February of 2017. She's currently a national director, which she achieved in July of 2020. She has over 100 personal enrollees and over 3,200 members in her organization. One of our fastest growing businesses in Mela. She was last year's President's Club recipient. And she's got a lifetime earnings, everybody, of over $1 million with Mela. But I think the most important number to her is how much her personals have been able to generate because of her introduction to Mela to their families. And that's over $774,000, and which I know you're really proud of, Sabrina, that you've been able to enhance these families' lives. So thank you for joining us this morning, Sabrina.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here, Mark.
Well, awesome. Well, listen, the next thing we want to do is see if we can have you share with us some information on contacting and setting appointments. So go ahead.
Absolutely. We will jump right in there. So good morning, good afternoon, depending on your time zone. I'm excited to be with you. I hope that everybody will just kind of get comfortable, grab a pen and paper if you don't already have it, get a cup of coffee, and let's kind of just chat. I kind of want this to be laid back and conversational, but I really just want to be candid with you and share with you some things I've learned on my journey, and hopefully they'll be helpful to you. First and foremost, we're going to talk about critical activity number one, and it's critical activity number one for a reason, because it's so important, and it's your contact list. You know, what I have found is so many times people want to skip over this. Sometimes people will tell me, you know, the list is on my phone. It's my list on my phone. I've got the numbers right there, or they're in my social media. And can I be honest with you that you're cheating yourself when you do that? You really want to write those names down. In fact, for me, what I have found works best for me is I get a new planner every year, and I look for a planner that has lines in the back that I can take notes on. And that is where I put my contact list brand new every single year. But for those of you, no stones if you haven't created a contact list. If you're brand new, start there, start today and create a contact list. It won't take you very long. If you haven't looked at your contact list in a long time, I'm encouraging you today to look at it, maybe rewrite it, and let's just take a fresh set of eyes and put it on our contact list. And then let's talk about adding names to it. You know, I want to share with you a mistake that I made for really about my first year in Melaleuca. And I'm sharing this with you in hopes that it can help you maybe not make the same mistake that I did. I listen to trainings all the time because that is, and I still do, that's the way I love to get information. And I think it just brings you up to speed on how to build this business. I would hear over and over again, continuously add names to your contact list. And I remember in the beginning, I had over 100 names on my contact list. I would hear that training. I heard it over and over, and I would think, I'm good. I don't need to keep adding names. I've got over 100 names. I would hear that month after month, kept building my business. And after a while, I would look at my list and I still had names there, but I had approached most of those people. They were still there, but maybe I didn't need to approach them yet. And all of a sudden, finally, that light bulb went off for me. And I realized what those trainings were trying to tell me was that you always need to continuously add names because you need the fresh. It's not that that new person today on your list is who you're going to approach today. That might be 6 months from now. That might be a year from now. Think of it even like a coach on a football team. They're not just focused on the team they have today. They're looking at the future. They're looking at the team for next year. And when you're building this Melaleuca business, you need to think about your customers for 6 months from now, your customers for a year from now. We are so blessed to be with Melaleuca and have that 96% reorder rate that Frank just mentioned, but it's not 100%. There's 4% attrition. We have to be thinking about that. We have to be thinking about the new, adding new names to the contact list. So let's think about how to do that. You know, for me, it's always even thinking ahead. Have you thought already now about how you're going to add names to your contact list this next week? Where are you going to be? Where are you going to go? And how much are you going to be listening? And I'll just share with you, for me, things like being in a Bible study or in a book club, those are great. Those are great ways. But what is it that you love to do? Our son plays basketball. So we go lots of basketball games. And I'll just be honest with you. I don't like to talk about Melaleuca at the basketball game. I don't want to be the Melaleuca lady. You know, I want to go to the games and enjoy the games and get to know people. I want to sit with new people and I want to listen. I want to listen for needs. Sometimes at a game, I may hear a mom talk about asthma flaring up on their child. I don't tell them right then about Melaleuca. If someone talks about eczema or blood pressure or someone losing a job, I don't talk about Melaleuca. I just make a mental note of that. And I come back to it a few days later and pick up the phone and call that person. That person just goes on my list at that time. So I just think it's really important to be sure that you're putting yourself in places where you can, you know, on purpose, add names to your contact list. You also need people that can help you. If you're that person that's a little bit like me, that it doesn't come natural, I have to remind myself to get out of my comfort zone. I remember a day that we were on the school parking lot. There was a group of moms out talking. And Doug said, you should get out of the car and go visit with them. And I was like, oh, I'm good. And he's like, no, like Sabrina, really, it would be good for you to go out and visit with some of them. And I knew he was right. The thing is, with Doug's personality, it would have been really easy. If there was a group of guys out, he would have just naturally by instinct hopped out of the car to talk to them. That's not the way I am. So I need someone, and that's usually Doug, that will kind of nudge me in that direction. And then I try to nudge myself. So be sure you're doing that. I also want to just briefly mention social media. You know, there are some great trainers out there on social media, and I don't post a lot on social media. Certainly, if you look at mine, you won't see much about Melaleuca. But what I will say, as you use social media, I would just encourage you to stay true to your own brand. Think about what that is. We all really kind of have a brand. You know, we want to represent Melaleuca's brand well, and we want to represent our brand. You know, our brand is us personally, it's our family. And just think about that. Be sure what you're posting is in line with that. And you know, for me, that's my family. lots about basketball because that's what we're doing all the time. And as people comment on that and I respond, that's a lot of times where I add people's names to my contact list. As we kind of think about, we've got the contact list kind of covered now. We move into setting appointments. Can I be honest with you? You really need to get good at setting appointments. If you can become really good at setting appointments at Mela, you can go far. You can get up into the senior and executive director ranks here. Become a good appointment setter. On our team, we talk a lot about our role as an appointment setter. In fact, we talk about it and we kind of use the example of saying, when we're in the appointment setting role, we're kind of not just a role, but we're like putting that hat on. We're putting the appointment setting hat on. So think about it a little bit. If you were the receptionist at your pediatrician's office, I just want you to think about this for a second. Let's say someone calls in and says, my child's throat is bright red and has these white patches on it. I need an antibiotic. Can you call that in? And if that receptionist said to you, absolutely, you don't need to see the doctor, I'm just going to call that in. That receptionist would probably have lost her job by noon. Now, I'm not telling you would lose your job, so to speak, at Mela if you say too much in an approach. But what I will tell you, if you say too much in an approach, you may not get to set that appointment. So if you think of yourself truly as your role as an appointment setter, not that you're going to give the whole overview or giving a mini overview when you're setting the appointment, it helps. So think of yourself in that role, put that hat on when you're setting appointments. Now, how many of you are like me when you're setting appointments and it's hard to get off the phone? You don't want to be rude. Someone starts asking you a lot of questions and you just don't want to be rude. You're trying to get off the phone. I have found something that works. So I want to give you a couple of tips and then I'm going to give you some examples of some approaches. So for me, what I've learned when I'm setting appointments, it helps so much if I'm busy. So I make a lot of my appointments in the car. I'm going to give you an example. Let's say this afternoon, there's a meeting at school right after class is out. I will have 4 names written down. I will drive up to the school parking lot and I will pull out my phone. So here's what will happen. I'll call Jill. I'll say, hey, Jill, I know we need to catch up, but right now I'm actually fixing to run into a meeting at the school. I'm up here on the parking lot, but I thought of you because I remembered that you mentioned Matthew's eczema had flared. And I have found something that has helped Caden's eczema so much. And I really think it could help Matthew too. Are you free tonight after dinner or tomorrow sometime in the morning that I could share it with you? It may or may not be for you. I have no idea, but I think you would love having the information. And then I'm just quiet. Now, Jill may say, oh yeah, after dinner tonight, that's great. And we may set the appointment, but she may start asking me some questions. Now, if she starts asking me some questions, the great thing about me being on that school parking lot is I can come back to Jill and say, you know what, Jill, those are great questions, but right now I don't want to give you bits and pieces and I literally have to run into this meeting. So are you free tonight after dinner? And can I call you then? And we'll jump online and I'll show this to you. And we set the appointment. And the great thing is I can do 3 or 4 appointments sitting on the school parking lot and it works. And it's a way that works for my personality to be able to set those appointments quickly. I'm honest. I'm being very transparent about what I'm doing, but it's a way that I can get on and off the phone very, very quickly. So sometimes when I look at my contact list, I have people on that list that I think I need to move from, maybe they're really precious to me. I have not talked to them in forever, and I need to get them kind of into my warm market before I talk to them. A great way to do that is to ask for a recommendation. So most people I can be really direct with and just set the appointment, but sometimes I need to bring them into that warm market. I'm going to give you an example of how this works so quickly. So here's an idea. We have a room downstairs that I want to paint and redo. It's outdated. So I can call a great friend that's already a Mela customer, but instead I will text a friend of mine. Hey, Tammy, I know it's been forever since we've talked, but listen, we are fixing to redo a room and I know you're great at that. Can you recommend a painter for me? She may or may not be able to recommend a painter, but all of a sudden we have started a conversation. We just went from not talking to having a conversation. And I don't know if it'll be 2 days or 2 weeks before I'm actually approaching her about Melaleuca, but I just brought her from a place of not talking in a while to having conversation. Now, most people I don't have to do that with. Most people I can just be direct. I'll tell you about Olivia. In fact, Olivia, we were never great friends to start with. We were acquaintances. Our children played basketball together in the 3rd grade. Remember, I told you Caden is now playing basketball. He's in high school. He's a junior. This is years ago. I don't even know how to contact her. Do you know a great way to find people's phone numbers is on LinkedIn? So Doug helped me. We found her number. I was driving down the road and I called Olivia. Now I did a business approach with Olivia. And this is what I said to her. I said, Olivia, I don't know if you remember me or not. I'm Sabrina Ellis. Caden played basketball with Connor back years ago. And she was like, oh yeah. I said, well, I know it's random that I'm calling you, but I'm calling you because I don't know if you know what Doug and I are doing now, but we're actually repping for a wellness company and we are just having a great time. And I think that you would be great at what I do. And I don't know if you're open to hearing about another stream of income or not, but I would love to share it with you. And then I was just quiet. Now, I didn't know what I would get from that. I hadn't talked to her in years. I didn't even have her phone number. But what Olivia said to me was, I've been praying about a way to add some extra income to our family. Yeah, when can you talk to me? And I said, well, how about tonight? And she actually enrolled and ordered. She decided actually not really to build a business, but she loves the products and is a shopper. We did a full overview, of course, started with the products. And so there's lots of different ways that you can approach people. For those of you that have little ones, for those of you right now that have toddlers, a great time to call people is bath time. Start running the bath water and pick up the phone and say, I just have a minute. I'm fixing to get the kids in the bath. There are so many different ways to approach people. Just be genuine and be yourself. You know, in just a moment, we are going to dive in and start setting some appointments. I want to tell you, if I were diving in right now and I was making an appointment, I would tell you what I would start off with. I would pick up the phone and I would say, hey, Laurie, I know we need to catch up. But right now, I'm actually on this online seminar and we're taking a quick break. I just have a second, but I thought of you because, and then I would go into my approach and I would approach her. And if she started asking me some questions, I would come back with, I don't want to give you bits and pieces. Are you free tonight? I promise you we could jump on Zoom and I'll answer all of your questions. My seminar is going to be back on in just a second, but I just was excited to touch base with you. But I think it's a great way, at least for me, to get on and off the phone to set several appointments quickly. And so I think, Mark, it would be great to dive in and start making some appointments.
All right. Well, first of all, Sabrina, I just wanted to tell you, thank you for sharing all of that. I've been taking some notes while you've been talking, and there were 5 words that I wrote down as a little bit of a summary of your training. And here are the 5 words when working with contact lists and doing approaches. When you write down your contact list and you think about individuals that are coming to mind, right? By the way, on the Download Print Center at Melaleuca, we have an item called the Memory Jogger. On that Memory Jogger, it has all these different things that you can look at that might jog your mind to think about somebody to write down. I'm sure that's probably something that you incorporate in your business. And so I encourage everybody that's tuning in today to take a look at that. So when you write down your contact list, the first thing I learned from you was, let's identify what the need is. So maybe as you write down the name of the individual on your contact list, and everybody, you may be doing that right now, think about what the need is. You know, is it a need around eczema, or is it rosacea, dry skin, high blood pressure, joint health, or whatever it is? Write those needs down. The next 4 words I found in your approaches that you did. You talked about how you partnered up with a wellness company. I like that a lot. I like that you said you found something that was very helpful for your family, right? The 3rd word that you indicated was you wanted to share it with that person. And I love that part because it's not about you, Sabrina, it was about them. And the 4th word that you put into that approach was help, that it could be of some help. And then obviously you try to set a time and a date. So did I summarize that right? Did I pick up on all the right clues there?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, awesome job. So everybody, now that you've got a contact list in front of you, and you may have been thinking of some names while Sabrina was giving us this exceptional training. And now you've got some ideas on how to frame an approach using these 4 words along with whatever the need was. It is now time to apply what we have just learned. So we're going to ask everybody just for a moment, if you can go down to the very bottom of your Zoom screen, there's a button called the chat. We're going to invite everybody to open up the chat. All right. And during this time, make sure that when you open up the chat, it's all to all attendees. We want to be able to honor and acknowledge your hard work during this Power Hour. And Sabrina, you can help me with this. And we've also have one of our exceptional managers in our leadership development and coaching team that's going to help us with that celebration. And that is Mr. Ed Jessup. It's good to have you, Ed. Thanks for joining us today.
Good to be here, Mark. Thank you.
We're going to go ahead and get ready to get started on this powerful Power Hour. And just think about this for a moment. If you were to practice this activity of doing Power Hours within your organization every week, the power of adding names and setting appointments can be very contagious. Sabrina, is this something that you guys do often in your organization?
We do. We had a lot of fun doing one this past week, and we actually even used playing cards with it. We wrote the names on playing cards and shuffled them, and that was an idea we got from Heather Brown, and Laurie Lambert helped us. So, yes.
Awesome job. Well, this is a powerful activity. So, all right, everybody, if you're in the chat, this is an opportunity for you to be able to share with us on how you're doing for the next 30 minutes. That's all we're going to take. And what we'd like to be able to see in the chat is, obviously your name will pop up. Just tell us, hey, I called somebody and I set an appointment. Or, I called 3 people and I got an appointment, or whatever the case is. Let us be able to celebrate you. Now, also, if you've got a question, you can put it in the chat. Sabrina and I and Ed will be here, and we'll do our very best to answer those questions. If you have something that has come up in the middle of your approach that you may need a little bit of help with. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get started, and we're going to start on a 3, 2, 1 countdown. So here we go. Ready? 3, 2, 1, let's go. All right, so Sabrina and Ed, if you guys want to pull up your chat, we'll watch.
I'm looking at it right now, Mark. Actually, I want to make a comment on the very first comment in the chat box from Melinda Boyle. And I thought, how cool is that? Sabrina, you talked about thinking in the future. You had 100 names to begin and you thought, oh, well, I'm fine. And here Melinda is saying, I'm in the 300 plus range.
Yes.
And she's been writing names down this whole time that you've been talking. I think that's an amazing moment right then. She's taking advantage of the moment right now. This is your working time. Let's make the most of it.
Yes, way to go, Melinda, and way to go to get it early to keep adding those. And it doesn't take very long. 300 names in this little amount of time. That's awesome.
Hey, there was an interesting comment here just a little bit ago, that when someone is approaching somebody, Sabrina, and they happen to go through, they've identified the need, they've used the words like partner and found and share and help and try to set that appointment. And what if their contact maybe says no? Like, what's the next step when they say no? What do you do?
I just always keep them on my contact list, and I stay in contact with them as a friend. Just because they don't choose to shop here initially as a customer does not mean that I don't stay in contact with them. Timing is everything. One of my good friends actually told me that her husband loved the smell of bleach, and she did not start shopping here. She's now a director 5 here at Mela. It was timing. It was about 6 months later. We were at a basketball game. It came up, and I don't normally talk about Mela at basketball games, but she did ask me about the smell of products, and I had Tough and Tender in my car. And afterwards, we walked out to the parking lot, and she smelled Tough and Tender, and she enrolled. So it's just the funniest thing. Stay friendly with people. Don't ever take them off your contact list.
That's awesome. I'm starting to see some people that are booking appointments. Abosidi Ayeridan, and I'm probably sure I did not say that correctly, but she just booked a presentation 1 minute ago. So good job. And here we have Kristen Swiger. We have an appointment at 2:00. And I thought I saw another one here.
Wanda Jackson.
Wanda Jackson.
I want to highlight that one. Wanda Jackson. She says she approached, I believe it was her mother-in-law twice, or aunt twice, You know, speaking to the consistency and the persistence, right? Don't give up just because they said no the first time. We believe that all roads lead to Melaleuca. So continuing on and approaching that next time. Congratulations to you, Wanda.
And Kristen Swiger has an appointment at 2:00 today. Way to go, Kristen.
They're starting to come in. Those calls are being made. Folks are overcoming their fear and applying some of the things that you shared with them, Sabrina, and appointments are being set across Melaleuca country. Now, everybody, remember to report in and put in the chat so we can celebrate you and honor you for your hard work and some good stuff that's happening here. I love this.
Mark, we're working on.
What's that?
Go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
Jeanne Rosowski, I love that idea. She has a contact binder, which I think is pretty good, and with different category tabs for names to keep her organized, and that's pretty awesome. All right, everybody's starting to send information in. Ed, what are you seeing?
Danielle Broderick setting up 13 presentations today. I mean, that's incredible, whether they're for today or another time. But Mark, I want to reflect back. You know, Sabrina, you spoke about critical activity 1 and adding names to your contact list, and also critical activity 2. I would invite everybody, just put in the number. How many names have you added to your contact list today? And you can put that in the chat. And for those of you who are in Fast Track, by the way, this is one of those activities that you're recording every single day. You can take that number and plug it right into your Fast Track accountability spreadsheet. And there you've got your accountability for today already in Fast Track. But throw that in. Letitia adding 44 names to her list already today. Lynn with 20
Valerie
names.
Darlington.
Approached. Oh my goodness.
Valerie's up here. She said that she hadn't had a contact list. She was just using the names in her phone, but today decided to create a contact list. So great job, Valerie. I think you're going to see your business improve just from doing that. That's huge.
I'm just watching, folks. I mean, I think that was a great thing to do, Ed. Just to ask people to show us how many names have they added to their contact list. And I'm already seeing folks that have added 53 and 20 and 44 and Susan added 20 as well. So good stuff that's happening. I'm just watching the chat here. 3 appointments for Karina Barnard, and she added 20 names, which is pretty darn cool. So good things are happening all around. Pretty darn awesome.
Olga with 20 more names as well. I loved that. I'm so glad you pulled that out, Sabrina, as well, or mentioned that specific post comment, is that pulling it out of your phone, and you talked about this, taking it off of the digital device. Not that you can't work in a spreadsheet or Excel or wherever it may be, but there are so many stories of taking it out of that device and putting it on paper, and it just makes it that much more real and manageable to you.
Yeah. And what we see on our team is a lot of people never even did like a spreadsheet. It was just their contacts on their phone. That was their contact list. They never created a contact list. So I think people sometimes think they don't need to do it. And it's so important. It is so important.
Gwendolyn Edwards, congratulations to you with 3 appointments scheduled today.
That's pretty awesome. I'm just reading all of these different comments. By the way, Sabrina, how important are words? The words that you use, when you're doing an approach. Let's talk about that just for a moment. How do you want to represent yourself, and how do you want to sound when you're approaching?
It's your posture. You want to be confident. It's how you say it, to me, more than what you say. What you say is important too, but it's also, if they can just hear in your voice that you really care about them, it comes across. You do not have to be this polished professional speaker. Just be you. I'm not a huge proponent of scripts, although they have a place. I think you can kind of learn from them, but just be yourself. Just be genuine, be real, be yourself. They hear that. And if you care about people, they really will. They value you. They'll get on an overview.
That's awesome. Thank you, Sabrina. By the way, everybody, when you get a chance, go into the chat and share with us how you're doing, how many names you've added to your contact list, and how many calls you've made, how many appointments you've set. It's starting to happen. I'm seeing folks say, I just got a Monday appointment with a chicken list
Yes.
Contact. So what are they talking
Way
about?
to go,
this?
Chris.
What's a chicken list? What is that?
Tanya Tapp as well. Tanya Tapp says an appointment at 11:30 today, 1 o'clock today, and then Sunday at 11:30. Sabrina, to your point, becoming an expert appointment setter. When you're setting that appointment, you give them the time. When are you available? What are you available at 11:30? So Tanya, congratulations there, and thank you for becoming